Okay, so, oh my goodness, I feel bad because I need to be posting and I haven't been posting. I mean, things have been crazy over here. I was actually hoping to be in front of my desk and have a Christmas tree, like right where my laptop is right now, and have more of a festive background. And obviously, that's not the case. But hopefully, the next video that will happen. I really want to have a Christmas tree in the background, but we've been just busy trying to get everything going behind the scenes. But I want to do a reaction to a classic Christmas cartoon. Okay. And the one that I was going to do, I actually saw in the recommended sidebar another one. And it was on the VHS, along with the one that I was actually looking for. That VHS that my grandma had of like the Max Fleischer and other holiday movie cartoons, I should say. So we're gonna look at this one, and then I will, of course, show the other one probably later this week. And but I feel just awful that I haven't been posting more. 'Cause- just because. Um, Now I do want to say that this particular one, uh, YouTube was fine with Christmas comes but once a year. YouTube can be snarky with music. Okay, let's just be honest here. This one has a couple of songs. And so when I upload it, the cartoon itself might be softer than usual. I try to make it so that you can still hear it. And I'll do everything I can and so that I don't get that, excuse you, but I will, of course, put it in the description box so you can go ahead and watch it. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and watch. Oh, Ub Iwerks. I didn't even see the name. He's the one that worked with Disney. Jack Frost. Oh my. There he goes. Oh dear. Oof. And splash. Oh, it's fall. There he is.
Hi, here am I, Jackie Frost, quick and spry. Listen to me while I say, summer's gone, play no more, for winter's knocking at your door. Better go and store your food away.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it in the middle of this jingle. Maybe that'll help. And so adorable little bear. And I actually miss I think I like these older cartoons, and even when I was a kid, I liked these like the Silly Symphonies, Disney Silly Symphonies, and the Merry Melodies that Chuck Jones had, and or Warner Brothers, whichever. And these cartoons were are timeless because of some of the little songs and rhymes that they had, just like what Jack Frost was saying. And I mean, they stick with people. Now you also have to realize that at this time, um, cartoons were basically like they weren't like now where all cartoons are basically for children, except when you have like King of the Hill and that kind of thing. No, cartoons were you saw the animation before the movie. It was like the appetizer, basically. And my grandpa worked at a movie theater and he said that pretty much what they were for was you had this cartoon going and then you could go and get your popcorn. That's what a lot of people, the newsreels were going and Rocketeer, that's a perfect example where Cliff and Jenny went to the movie theater and they had that newsreel going. Well, yeah, you knew that the newsreel was going, so you could go ahead and kind of loiter around, have your cigarette or get your popcorn and your drink and go in and that kind of thing. Nowadays, it's just endless previews, you know, time and again. And so the animation, these animated cartoons were for all ages. It wasn't like they were just for children. And, and as I think a lot of people are starting to get the idea when they see some of the content in them, like in 2005 there was the movie Chicken Little, and then people started seeing the cartoon that came out in the 40s, 30s and 40s, and those animals were smoking and drinking and gambling and yeah. So probably the 2005, a lot of people say that it wasn't the best. I'll agree to that, but when you look at the the alternative, yeah, let's all right, let's see what these animals have to say.
Thanks, Mr. Jackie, for your advice. We'll hurry home to our wives. We'll have our cupboards filled with
They're
supplies.
using each other for wheelbarrows. Oh,
I don't have to worry. I don't have to care. My coat is very furry. I'm a grizzly bear. If you meet old man Winter, you'll sing a different tune. It's time that you were safe in bed, for he will be here soon.
mother says. Oh, there he is, sneaky. What little kid doesn't do this, right? Oh, oh. That was something that I said with with that Christmas comes but once a year. The animated now again, this was Ub Iwerks. Um, I know I said the last name wrong, but he was an animator. I was actually looking him up earlier, and he was known as the chief animator for Walt Disney. And yes, there was a falling out. Maybe I'll do a video about all that, but he was behind Steamboat Willie. He actually, because, okay, one thing you have to understand, see, because back in the 80s, Michael Eisner showed a lot of interviews for people who worked with Disney, the Disney Corporation, even the actors who worked with Disney. So, you saw interview all of it. Okay, the Imagineers, all that. And one thing that was consistent, especially the people who were animating and drawing behind the scenes, people who worked on Snow White and those types of movies, all said the same thing. Walt Disney couldn't draw for shit. Okay. There were others who were phenomenal. Okay. And Oob was one of the best. Okay. Walt Disney gave him a rough sketch of what would later become Mickey Mouse. And the sketch that, I mean, the drawing that we see of Mickey Mouse and Steamboat Willie, that was Oob's work. Okay. Now, I don't remember if this, I'll have to look and I'll put it in the description box. I don't know if this is through Oob's studio. So I'll have to look. I'll have to look and see if it was through his studio didn't last very long. But after he had a falling out with Walt Disney, he did have a studio. And but yeah, the a lot of the Mickey that you see is his creation. All Walt Disney did was give a very rough sketch because again, he couldn't draw for shit. Okay. I'll agree there was a falling out. Okay, but what a lot of people I've seen so many different stories of what people say actually happened. I looked it up and I'll talk about it. That's another video for another time. But the reason that I was talking about it in the first place was, like I said in the Christmas Comes But Once a Year, is that with these cartoons like Max Fleischer and here with is there they are able to get personality so well that you relate to these characters or you embrace these characters, you know? I feel so bad for this little bear, but he's not listening to Mama Bear. He he deserved what he got, but you feel so bad. This poor little bear that's crying. And that was the same thing in Christmas Comes But Once a Year, that little girl. It still gets me. I've watched it a few times since. And she's hugging on that bear, on that teddy bear, and she's saying, "Oh, teddy bear," and the stuffing falls out, and she just starts crying. And that's when you know you have a good animator. I mean, when you have somebody who can do that, I mean, those poor little kids, and they go in and they, with their broken toys, the one girl that had a scooter and it fell apart and everything. I mean, you knew that the toys were going to fall apart, but these poor children, these poor orphans, and the toys just fell apart. And fortunately, Mr. Professor saved the day with that one. And well, here again, you have another one where it's this little bear and he was being sassy, he was being mischievous and he was going to sneak out because he didn't have to worry, he didn't have to care. And and mom had told him, uh-uh. And he tried to sneak out and but even where I have it saved or paused and that little face, this kind of animation I want back. And I know that they're trying to bring back 2D animation. Don Bluth, I don't know if he was actually successful in having those classes with 2D animation. I hope he was, because he said that he wanted to do that. And I just never heard of it happening again. But and now all of a sudden Disney is talking like they just pulled that out of their ass. And people are like, "Yay, Disney!" And it's like, no, Don Bluth said it about almost 10 years ago. Stop it. All right, let's keep going. Oh, good heavens. Uh-oh. He's gonna run away. That was a brush, by the way.
You'll be sorry.
This is such a typical kid. That's the other thing I love about they get that child personality in a bear. Jack-o'-lanterns. Oh,
Billy Bear, have a care. Old Man Winter's in the air. You'll be sorry if he catches you.
mm-hmm.
I don't have to worry. I don't have to care. My coat is very furry. I'm a grizzly bear.
Okay, before they start dancing. I also like the fa if you noticed the facial features of Jack Frost. He's like, you're no, 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 no. Um, yeah, and I love the backdrops of these. And they I'm sorry, but animators today don't and they're being called out for it. Okay, they don't want to put enough effort into the product. And it really shows when watching these kinds of cartoons. I mean, you look at the backdrop there and the palette and everything, just the drawing of a cornfield and the colors showing that harvest time is there. I mean, we how quickly we went from them playing in the summertime because they were playing leapfrog in the summertime to this change of color. And I like how they portrayed Jack Frost. How often do they show Jack Frost with the cold colors, like the ice and the snow and everything? I like showing him with a color palette, kind of a Bob Ross kind of a deal. Okay, let's keep going. Scary. Oh, oh, he's singing scat. I should look. I see because of course Cab Calloway's Minnie Moocher is in one of the Betty Boop cartoons, and he was known for scat. I mean, he was famous for scat. I'm wondering if he did this. I mean, he's not the only one to do scat. I know that. I'm wondering who's singing this. I'm curious now. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the description box. I'll put the cast in the description box. Those are scary trees. They're mad. Unlike the pumpkins. Reminds me of in Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, you have to go through the Lost Forest and those trees are unhappy. Yeah, and that's one thing that I like about Legend of Zelda is whenever they show the Lost Forest, it's never the same. And in Breath of the Wild, how they portray the Lost Forest, those trees, well, kind of like these trees, the way that they look. And they they have angry faces. All right, let's continue to hear his song. Oh, there comes the snow.
I don't have to worry. I don't have to care. My coat is very furry. I'm a grizzly bear.
They don't care. I remember this part scared me because the scarecrow turned into a snowman. Uh-oh. Run, little guy, run. Oh no. No. Oh, well, now that's just not nice. It's a sky. You could be nice.
So you would run away from home.
Oh. He even has a Father Winter or Old Man Winter, I guess they called him. He even has like that scary voice, kind of like Tim Curry. I know it's not Tim Curry, obviously, because this is in the 30s, but he's got that menacing, scary voice. I hope it, when I look at the cast list, I hope it says who it is. But oh my goodness, that was quite a chase. And I don't remember ever in the cartoons that I've seen growing up them separating Jack Frost and Old Man Winter. I think this is one of the few times that they did that. Now, again, I haven't seen every cartoon. I'm sure that in other cartoons in other countries that has been done. But here in America, um, yeah, I think this is one of the few that's actually happened. Of course, there's that famous Fantasia where it shows the changing of the seasons using the Nutcracker suite and that Walt Disney did. But again, they're using the fairies that are changing the. I always liked that one. They usually showed that with the Christmas special, and it's kind of the same thing here, where the changing, Jack Frost is changing everything, and then Old Man Winter shows up. So, but you know, a lot of people don't think about Old Man Winter. They think about Lady Winter, but not Old Man Winter. So that's kind of interesting. And it's funny how stuff like that gets lost in the shuffle. Okay, let's see this little bear get saved because he has to. Oh, he's crying.
You would roam all alone. I told you not to leave your home, but you're a grizzly bear.
Oh, you didn't have to throw that back
Please,
at
Mr.
him.
Frost, I'm sorry. Oh, help me out, please do. Take me home to my nice warm bed. I'm freezing through and through.
Oh, candy stripes. Oh, he's asleep. And that's the end. And it also, going back to what I was saying before, how often do we see Jack Frost as a bad guy? This one showed Jack Frost as a good guy. He was saying, well, you didn't listen to me, and I was giving you fair warning. You need to stay at home. And I'll go ahead and I'll put all that information in the description box, like the cast and that kind of thing. Yeah, because I'm curious who was singing for the Scarecrow and everything. And because, like I said, Cab Calloway's Minnie the Moocher appeared in one of Betty Boop's. It seems like it appeared in a couple of cartoons, but that one in particular I know of. And so I'm curious to know who sang that. And I'm also curious as to who was the voice of Old Man Winter. But anyway, I will close up here.